It was early. Too early. And despite all my good intentions, I was awake. It was the first days of spring. Not quite daylight savings. The mornings started earlier, but it's still not as warm as you would like. I lay in my bed trying to correct my mistake. My cat, snug, under my arm, sound asleep in somewhere nicer. I heard something. A muffled yelling? It's Saturday morning and I live on a main street. It's probably people out from the night before. I still hear it. It didn't sound like somebody was in immediate danger, nor excited partiers walking past. The sound was roughly the same length and volume. It's probably nothing. It's too early and cold to be anything. I lay there. I'll go take a look, but I won't bring my jacket because I won't be long, because it's nothing. My door's just off a main street, so it takes me a few moments to get to the corner. Across the road is a fancy pub. In a previous life it was a post office. 2 doors down is an empty store. In a previous life, it was a Noah's Ark themed indoor play center. In front, a young woman yelling and flailing about. She's drunk. See, it's nothing. Her body violently flies back and forth. She wasn't drunk. I cross the empty road and approach her. What she was yelling became clear. She was yelling for her mummy. Her pleas, her vulnerability, her grief. It felt far too personal for a stranger to know, let alone an empty, indifferent street. She wanted her mother to comfort her. Instead, she had cold concrete. Being a tall, imposing presence, I was cautious in approaching her. As I got near, I crouched down to eliminate my height. I gently tapped her on the foot in order to put as much space between us. She slowly came back into this plane of consciousness. So there was no confusion. I was straightforward with who I was and that I was there to help, which was received in kind. We chatted and tried to work out how to get her somewhere safe. She told me about her night. She was in this situation due to some bad luck and bad health. We only talked for a few minutes, and she struck me as somebody who is instantly warm and thoughtful. But let's get this clear. Just because she came across as a nice person, it is in no way related to her worthiness of help. She could have been awful to me, and they're completely due to all her poor decisions. And she would still deserve help. She would still deserve dignity. With a solution no closer, she falls on me and back into the unknown. I lay her down on the footpath and then into the safety position. Then I call for an ambulance. In a previous life, I worked a job where I did this a lot. The operator can't hang up until the ambulance arrives. So, we wait. She was dressed comfortably, nothing fancy but with a lot of pride. She had a thin jacket which probably wasn't enough, as it was cold. Why didn't I bring my jacket? She collapsed in an unfortunate spot, a real dead stretch. She was surrounded by closed shops and not many homes. My flat wasn't exactly close. Her voice had to make it down the street, above some shops, back a little bit, and inside my dream. Who knows how long she was there? I do know this. I wasn't the first person to see her. Somebody saw a young, indigenous woman having a medical crisis and decided to call the fucking police. It's been about 2 years now, and I'm still furious about this. Let's say the very best scenario: somebody was driving to work, they were running late and couldn't stop to help, and they saw her, they thought she was drunk, fair enough, I did as well, and maybe the fact that she was indigenous or a person of color didn't even clock with them. Yet, they still called the police. Why? She wasn't harassing anyone. At most, she was a danger to herself. And isn't that even more of a reason to call an ambulance? Maybe they were a little bit naive and didn't really know what to do, and they thought the police might drive her home, or were better to assess the situation. Even if we give the caller every single benefit of the doubt and do a little bit of mental gymnastics, it still feels cruel. They arrived and were kind and empathetic, exactly the type of people you want in this situation. A female officer covered her with a jacket and waited by her side. The police now have duty of care. The operator still can't hang up, which means I can't leave. We all wait. They arrive. They care for her. They take her to a safer place. My bed was warmer than I could imagine. My cat was softer than I could remember. She woke for a moment to adjust herself into my armpit and instantly went back to sleep. I laid there, unable to